a
yeah.
note on the bottom and it's on all 3 scans. They talk about these discs. See,
Yeah. So as the discs become less shock absorbing, the bone that they sit on, the vertebral body, spreads out a little bit. It's like snowshoes, spreading your weight on snow. I mean, it disperses the forces over a larger area. So that rim of bone then sometimes presses into the canal the nerve runs through and presses on the nerve. So I have had for years an injectable that has homeopathic silicia and comfrey in it, and it helps reabsorb bone osteophytes. I can't get anywhere. I'm down to my last ampule. No point even starting with you. So Health Canada and Border Services have mucked about, and I can't get any more.
that's frustrating.
So you're injecting it where?
Just in that level, into the muscles, paraspinal, into the muscles
Okay.
along the spine. It's not right into the joints or into the spinal cord or anything, canal or anything. It's a very simple injection. But anyway, I can't get it anymore.
Can't get it.
So comfrey is fairly toxic to the liver with long-term use, but it does help with knitting of the bone and that sort of thing. But I think the best thing is vitamin K2 and D3. So I didn't even take mine, but I guess because I didn't get lunch.
Vitamin K2 and D3.
Yeah, I use this product. Now this is from, I sell this one as BioClinic Natural. It's the same thing as sold under the Natural Factors label if you prefer. Or if you buy it from us and later you want to get it up Island, you can get it from in Natural Factors in health food store. Each one is 1,000 units of vitamin D3 and 120 micrograms of MK7K2. And the K2 puts helps remodeling of bone and helps the bone health dramatically. So that's definitely...
And what was the name of that? And we'll just get it out here.
It's a D3 and K2.
But the name of the product to buy from you?
D3 and K2.
I'm sorry.
I think that's all it says on the label, but we use a brand called BioClinic Naturals, and the same factory puts that in a different bottle to sell through the health food stores called under Natural Factors label. So Natural Factors is a product line. But as far as I know, it says on it is D3, K2.
D3, K2.
There's no special name, sort of.
Okay.
Kind of
Would that kind of be the same for any arthritis?
No, but thinning of the bones or osteoporosis, osteopenia, whether the bones have gone up or down, this helps them get back to remodeling the way they should. So it hardens the bones, and then they don't have to keep spreading. At least it stops the progression of the osteophytes, but hopefully over time reverses it.
Right, okay, we
So
can get on that.
it's a fairly long-term project, but over months you should see a change.
Okay. I'm also wondering, we're also thinking about his liver. And I hear that coffee enemas are great to detoxify the liver, and I wanted to know if you knew anything about detoxifying the liver. Because of all the medication he's been on,
Yeah.
painkillers.
So in your book, page 85, I think it is, 80, 85, there's a discussion of detox in general.
Recipe for broth, okay.
Where is it, 85? Yeah, 85 to 90-ish.
We just bought a colonic board. You got an opinion about those?
Yeah, I think those are good.
Okay.
I've not used them myself, but I have a very, very dear friend, my best friend in university and med school, and he's in my graduation class there. He's passed away now, but he was a great believer in these and did them with his patients and always got good results, and I think it's a smart idea. So, yeah, definitely can endorse it. Can't give you any details about it because I'm not really experienced myself, but it's a darn good idea. So that's a general sort of method of detoxification there, strict fruit and vegetable diet. Can I just have it for a sec? I'll edit a couple things.
Thank you.
Bring it up to date. So it's pure fruit and vegetable diet. No bananas, no avocados, no potatoes, no legumes, no grains, no meat, no fish, no eggs. Just fruits and vegetables for a minimum 3 days.
Okay.
And then, a lot of broth can be taken. You can either buy that in Tetra Packs or you can make your own with the recipe there. There's a number of different products. Vitazen also sells products under the New Roots Herbal label. So these are just examples of products. But the Vizan Body Detox or Milk Thistle combination are both very good. I think the Body Detox being the better of the two. It's a newer one. But if you don't want to buy that from me, you can get the same thing under the New Roots Herbal label in Health Food Store. The brown rice diet, I put here 7 days, but really 1 to 7 days. And it talks here about food combining. It's way more trouble than it's worth. I'll just cross that right out. Don't even bother with that. So the strict fruit and vegetable diet is typically followed by at least a couple of days on the brown rice diet, which allows brown rice, fish, and defatted poultry or lean poultry. So it's a transition back towards normal diet, but still no bread, legumes, or some of these other things. So the strict part of the diet is best done for 3 days, and then the less strict part for 1 to 7 days, depending how you feel, and we don't want to be losing weight and stuff like that. So you don't want to do it for too long with you. And then there's some other tips on dry skin brushing, acupuncture points. You can do some of those. Enemas or colonics. Colonics, great. Little Kalima board, that sort of stuff. Dry skin brushing, infrared saunas. These can all be added in. They add some benefit, but they're optional. But the coffee enemas, they use them down in the Mexican clinic. So I learned about them in 1981. It's quite a long time ago, and they're mentioned in here under the coffee section in the botanicals. But it basically just says that I've seen them done.
Right.
They seem to help detoxify the liver and relieve pain, and I can support them. The trouble is with any enema, if your immune counts go too low. Now your neutrophils are up right now, but if you were to see this, say during chemo, just this may never apply to you, but just in case, if the neutrophils were to fall to or below normal, you wouldn't want to do any enemas. They become a risk. Right. So as long as your neutrophils are good, and they're quite high right now. But if that were to change, that's the one limiting factor for any enema or colonic. Okay. So the coffee enemas, very useful. Just you brew regular coffee, you let it cool, of course, the body temperature. What a lot of people do is buy a little bulb syringe that may be used for cleaning the ear out, little rubber things. They're about that big, little tube on them. And then, suck up about 6 ounces of coffee to 8 ounces, but 6 ounces is enough. And a little lube, insert rectally. And then the best thing to do is just lay there a little bit, roll back and forth a little bit, disperse it around. But it'll quickly absorb, and usually nothing has to come out again. But the first time you do it, you might do it in a bathtub or in a bathroom or with a towel or something under you, just in case you let loose. So usually you can put about 6 ounces, even 8 ounces in the rectal canal. It'll absorb quickly up into the liver. It'll increase bile flow and cause some purging of the liver. And it can relieve pain, but it can also detoxify.
Right.
No,
and so
the trouble with enemas, Kalima boards, all this sort of thing, when people overdo them. People can... No, are you Catholic by any chance? Okay. So I use this expression, maybe it's wrong, but it's sort of this sort of Catholic original sin sort of thing where you need to go to confession. That people get like this with the bowels, that they're dirty. I gotta fix it. I gotta do something about it, and they go to extremes. Well, it's a sewer. It's made to handle poop, and all kinds of waste. That's what it is. It's a sewer. Of course, it's dirty, but so. People sometimes will, do these things until they're shedding skin from the bowel and they're getting irritated, and so just no more than 2 a day coffee enemas, and probably best if they're not done every day long term. Yeah. So just be reasonable with them. Do a clean out a couple times a week, no problem. But every day or twice a day or 3 times a day starts to get neurotic. So there are people who become neurotic about this and say a little bit's good, more is better. There's a point where you start getting blown back.
I would never even think of doing it, even on the low end of what you just mentioned. But because of all this stuff I'm on,
right.
I've had a couple of experiences where, got to get gloves on and dig some of this stuff out, right? Oh, crap, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, well then definitely this is a good idea. Try the coffee enema. And you can usually buy bulb syringes at most of the pharmacies. London Drugs, that sort of thing, should be hard to find. They're about this size.
Yeah,
we think we know what they are. Perfect. Yeah. So you wouldn't put the coffee into the enema, like the
Oh, you
bag?
can do that if you have that
Okay.
equipment, sure, if you want to do it
Okay,
that
'cause
way.
that's
The
what
bulk
we've
syringe is
ordered.
real quick and easy.
That works
But
too. Okay.
yeah, sure,
Okay.
whichever way you have, that's fine.
Okay,
An
good.
enema bag is good too.
Do you want to keep this?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought I made a
That's the
copy.
lab. Oh, well, I don't, you didn't need to, you could have.
Oh,
that
okay,
one.
I'll keep
Yeah.
it then. No, yeah, right, you said
And
I'd keep it.
I'll give
Sorry.
you that too, that's the.
Yeah,
just
I'll
the-
keep that. That's a good one.
Awesome,
I'll show
And
it
I
to my
don't
daughter
think-
who's a nutritionist.
right on. I don't think,
Maybe.
bowel movements, okay, acidophilus, can I put them on acidophilus? A good acidophilus?
Yeah.
Okay,
And again, same thing applies. The immune system really tanks in, say, chemo, then we don't give it the probiotics, but
Okay.
otherwise we do. So
yeah, he's not doing any
yeah,
chemo.
so I don't see you getting into that, so it should be good.
Okay, and the StemKine, RBC StemKine product that rebuilds your stem cells, you don't know anything about that yet? Okay,
I can't vouch for it. I haven't seen any research.
gotcha.
Companies claim lots of stuff, but to me it's
Yeah.
just a story until I see research or, you know, I certainly do things that are a little on the experimental side, but
Sure.
you know, at least I've got my peers saying it's helped a lot of people. I've got my own experience with
Yeah.
it, but that I'm not sure. I can't form a professional opinion about
No,
it.
I appreciate
Sure.
that, yeah.
So I don't think there's any problem with it. There's certainly lots of people out there with different mitochondrial formulas and
Yeah.
stem cell formulas. What I know, what I've read in literature is good for stem cells: curcumin, vitamin A, drug metformin, and resveratrol. Those are for sure. And then there's a long list of others that have some tenuous relationship to stem cells.
Okay.
Do you know the Silvestral?
I'm not a fan.
No?
When Jerry Potter developed this idea, he'd read a paper saying that cancer cells of almost all types upregulate a certain enzyme, and that so he said, okay, this gives me a chance to make a magic bullet for cancer. If I can find something that this enzyme will break apart and release a toxin, then it'll go inside cancer cells. It won't hurt. Normal cells don't have this enzyme. It won't be hurt. Cancer cells will be poisoned. So he designed a molecule. He was a synthetic chemist. He's made a number of chemo drugs. He's quite well known in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was at the University of Leicester, and he got this idea to utilize this enzyme that is unique to cancer cells. And he designed and built this molecule from scratch. And he was sitting with another fellow in the university, professor, a botanist, and the botanist says, Jerry, what are you doing mucking about with resveratrol? And Jerry says, bugger off, that's my molecule, I created it out of thin air. You know, it was de novo, he created it synthetically. He says, sorry to tell you, but it's been done. It's resveratrol. It's found in fruits and berries, and it's a natural antifungal they make. If they're sprayed, they don't produce much of it, but organic fruits and berries have a lot of this. So, so then he went, but he found that giving the resveratrol to the cancer cells, that it increased cell killing. Now, there's been a number of studies pro and con with resveratrol. There was one from Harvard with 10 milligrams that produced good results in human beings. Now, he was working in petri dishes, you know, cells. So, but in human beings, resveratrol trials have been all over the map, from low doses working well to high doses not working at all. So it appears to be very unstable. Perhaps it gets converted into something else in the human liver, and it maybe only by certain people. Anyway, nobody knows really for sure, but resveratrol looked really strong on paper as a great remedy, but clinically it's been a complete bust, and most naturopathic oncologists no longer prescribe it because they don't think it adds any value. So one time they were using really big doses. So so Jerry then said, okay, and he started looking into this and found there's lots of resveratrol-like substances in nature. And so he called this class of substances silvestrols, and he found that he could extract them in high amounts from Jerusalem artichoke and cranberries and certain other things. So he started a business doing this, and he's been promoting it as a cancer cure. Well, I was one of the first people in Canada to hear about it. The Dr. Schaefer, who's a PhD psychologist who was doing some work, he tests computer interfaces, makes them user-friendly. He was working at the university there, and he got to know Jerry, and he got to see his results, and he had a lot of this stuff on a laptop, and apparently I was the first person. He's from Victoria, and I'm well known for cancer. He brought it to me first, thinking I'd be interested. Well, it certainly was. I went home, told my wife, I think this is the most important thing I've seen in 30 years.
Your next appointment is here.
Okay, thanks. So anyway, I got really enthusiastic about it, but I haven't seen results from it. I just, it's one of those things, it's a paper tiger.
Yeah.
And I just had high hopes for it. And I've seen people take lots and lots and lots of it, and I can't see any specific, particular result. Now, if you look on the website that they had for years, they had some case studies, but the case studies were extremely weak and they were poorly presented. But they would have someone, like yourself, and they'd say, well, this guy took chemo and radiation and sylvestrols, and look, his cancer's gone. I said, well,
Right.
show me a case that didn't take chemo and radiation where the cancer's gone, or show me a series of cases where they had chemo and radiation or chemo and radiation plus this, and the ones that plus this did better. But, I look at this case and say, the chemo radiation probably knocked the cancer down. That's the reasonable supposition. You can't tease out that the sylvestrols did anything in this case. And they were all like this. I said, these cases don't prove a thing. No doctor would write up a case like that. It doesn't tell, it's not informative. So I started saying this at lectures and, around, and being asked by patients all the time, but also being asked by my colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of my very good friends, Scott Tyler, he's a great guy, he's a smart guy. He wrote me 5 cases that he believes that this is where they turned the corner and made all the difference to them. So he's a great believer in it. And they were cases that were more persuasive. But he's the only one who's ever come forward with a case that's interesting. And certainly the people I've seen taking it, I haven't been able to discern anything. So as far as I'm concerned, it's way down the totem pole.
I'm one who took quite a good amount of it and didn't get any...
For a long time.
So that's what I've seen. Yeah, I've yet to see cases that's convincing.
And they came to us looking at our
Equipment.
hydroponic equipment.
Oh, yes.
And I was out went for dim sum with this group.
Yeah.
And I was rather floored. I was sitting around, there was maybe 8 of them there, and they were the wildest, healthiest looking group of people that I've ever been around.
Unhealthiest?
No.
Oh, healthiest.
The healthiest looking group of people I've ever been around. It was
Except for
really,
Shake was a heavy smoker.
That's funny.
it was really quite weird. I thought, maybe there's something going on with you folks. And
Maybe they're good for general health, but...
Well, I did their highest dose recommendation for several months. Once we had the diagnostics for the cancer, and there was certainly no miraculous recovery from it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Okay, and that's what I've seen. I've yet to see a case that I'm convinced it did anything much at all.
Yeah.
And that's why I was curious about the difference between that and the resveratrol, because I kind of thought
Resveratrol's been a bust too.
Right.
So I've got a company, NFH in Montreal, that's looking into this, of how to. I think it needs to be stabilized. I think it's unstable, and most of the products, once you open them up, they oxidize and they're useless. So I think it has to be reformulated to protect it from oxygen. So we're trying to figure out a way to do that and put it in with some bioflavonoids, vitamin C, some grapeseed extract, and then we're going to try that and see how that works.
Because the theory certainly seems sound.
Yeah. Oh, the basic science. When you look at the work that Dr. Potter did on this initially, it was very convincing. I mean, he's a very thorough scientist. This wasn't any rinky-dink little thing cooked up in a garage. This was a university, based intensive research with rats and very methodical. Step by step made his case.
Some of the write-ups on that were like, "This is it."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were excited.
I thought it was too.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago, whenever it came across, I got more jazzed about it than I've been about many things. I can't. I mean, artesunate has sort of hit us the same way. That's something that looks really promising. But there's not many things that have come along in my lifespan that had that good basic science behind them and a rational mechanism and look promising.
Hopefully the curcumin is gonna...
Oh, yeah, curcumin's definitely a remedy. That's a well-established remedy. Yeah, but certain cancers works for certain ones it doesn't. It works well for this kind of cancer.
Right. I'm still waiting for the... not sure if I sent you the link to the actual nano stuff you can take orally that the Iranians had broken through with. Because I don't like taking the intravenous stuff, and I'm taking your pills, but there apparently is another step up that's out there.
Yeah, well, theracurmin that I have, it's micronized, it's virtual nanoparticle size. That's its trick. So it's this is normal curcumin under microscope. This is the theracurmin that I've asked you to take. Now, the company that makes this, the the CEO of the company was sitting right there at lunchtime yesterday talking to me, and they've now got a 1,200 milligram capsule.
So, yeah, what's the maximum I can take of that?
Oh, you can take a lot. So I recommend 2 of the 600s, but that's a very lightweight dose.
Because I'd like to up that.
Oh yeah, you certainly can. Now we're going to be ordering the 1,200 milligram ones, and I'm going to be asking people to take at least 2 a day of those, which would be double the dose what I've been using before.
Right.
But a lot of
And
people
how
are
high-
adverse
how high
to
do you
pill
think you can
count.
go?
You give them too many pills, they balk.
So
A lot
6
of
mil,
people,
we can
but-
bump this up to,
You can definitely double that. Like when I take it for backache, I always take 2 at a time. So this is a light dose. You certainly can embellish that without any
How
problems.
high?
There are cases, some of the docs, Dr. Murray and so on, with cancer cases have been giving up to 10 a day of these.
Okay.
So
'Cause-
I would personally wouldn't go that high. I'd use other things with it to synergize with it.
Okay, because I mean, you know,
So I might give you 10 pills, but not all curcumin. I'll
Right.
give you the grape seed green tea with it.
Because I mean, I was, you know, doing the intravenous. I can't remember how much of a dose I was getting there, but you
take
know,
that out. So we can double
Doing-
this.
Yeah,
was
no
doing
problem
that
doubling
twice
it.
a
That's
week.
not an extreme
Okay.
dose. You could even double that, but then it's starting to get diminishing returns.
Right. Because we will, once he's through the radiation, 3 weeks after, we'll get on this protocol
Yeah.
that you've suggested.
Yeah.
Can I buy this here? This-
Aloe Moon?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
This was the another aloe.
Yeah.
Aloe.
Yeah, certainly you can.
And
Yeah.
for now, maybe we'll do some of that and then get on the gel.
Okay.
Or- yeah. Okay.
What's your like?
Okay.
All right.
Are we?
Okay.
I
better
guess
go.
we got.
I better go. Been running late all day. It's
Oh
terrible.
dear. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Sorry to keep you so.